This little video that you just saw right here, I actually shot that in real time. So what that means is I had the time lapse going and it was taking a picture every half second. And I tried to stop in every little shape as I did the press up, which was super hard, to try and replicate what you just saw there. So instead of doing it as fast as I can, going from a seat up into a handstand and then coming back and screen grabbing everything and then laying them out, I actually tried to do it in real time, stopping along the way, which is really difficult. So, and this was kind of inspired from a class that I did a couple weeks ago with Sam Starr in our handstand press party. We were looking at pressing up and pressing down and trying to stop our straddle at different points along the way, which is super interesting. It's a great workout, of course, if you can stop there as you go up and down. And that's where I was trying to recreate that from the ground up, trying to stop through some of those positions. With that being said, then it also led me over to something we're talking about right now, definitive shapes. So if you've never taken Liquid Motion and Liquid Motion 1.0, we learned the 5 fundamentals and then the 5 techniques, and that helps lay a really good solid foundation as far as movement theory is concerned and understanding the body as far as moving through space. When you come into a 2.0 liquid certification, then we start to expand and get a little bit deeper, and one of those things is definitive shapes. And so what we talk about with definitive shapes is when you're doing a move, and this works a lot better when we're looking at floor work, it could be a little bit more difficult on pole because sometimes if you're spinning, how can you stop what you're doing when you're transitioning? But from a forward perspective, are you looking at the shapes that you go through when you get to the end, right? So instead of thinking about what is the end game and then sweeping through and just hitting the shape right here, what shapes do you have that you hit along the way as you progress, okay? Something we might use would be like a shoulder stand, right? You need to lay on your side. Then you sweep the legs around, and then maybe you start to lift up. So there could be 3 shapes, there could be more depending on what kind of move you're looking at. But with that, once you start to look at definitive shapes and see what other shapes are happening within this particular move, then you can take those shapes that you recognize and link them to other moves that might have 3 or more components to it, and link up the definitive shapes, and then you get a hybrid move or a transition from you went like halfway into this move, but it actually linked to another move because you understood that there was a shape there, that these 2 common connection shapes that they shared, and it gives you those special hybrids. So I was just kind of wanted to share that because I found that really interesting as I was trying to press that up. And maybe that's a challenge for you, right? Like if you slow down and think about the movement that you're doing and the things that you are doing, can you slow down and break your move into 3 separate components? Can you look at definitive shapes before you get to the end, right? So spin pull is really good because spin pull is really spin, hold a shape, do something next, and transition. So sometimes there are definitive shapes that you can do with a spin pull pass, but sometimes it might not be possible when you're doing a static pull or if you're doing a power spin. But I just wanted to share that, maybe kind of put that out there and see how people feel about it, or how you might be able to challenge yourself with finding a definitive shape.